received an email from our social studies supervisor at my district.
Our principal, so to speak, she's one of the advisors for this event.
And Daryl Maeda called and asked if I would want to be involved with the project and head up the curriculum piece.
And the timing worked out for me to come to LA, so I was all over it.
So she invited myself and some other of my colleagues to come and experience this event and be part of it.
Thank you all so much for coming out to Los Angeles.
Welcome to the National Center for the Preservation of Democracy and to the Japanese American National Museum. That's the story I'm going to tell you about, is what happened to Japanese Americans in 1941 and 1942, but also how 40 years later we fought for redress and an apology for an egregious violation of the Constitution.
So thank you very much for being part of all of this and working hard so that you can bring in better understanding by your students. I think that's a real plus, and I thank you very much.
I've been really excited the whole time. I really enjoyed learning about the Japanese experience, especially the redress experience.
Because I was historically ignorant of most of this, if not all of it.
The pain, the shame, the wanting to sweep it under the rug and not talk about it anymore was so strong that many families did not even share with their children where they were born.
It gets really slighted in the history books.
I've really liked the collaboration with other teachers, getting to talk with teachers from my own state, but getting to talk with teachers from other states. The collaboration aspect has really stood out for me.
I felt like because of technology, it seems like the world is getting smaller.
My current idea is to say the world is getting larger.
You know, technology may be making the world smaller, but the diversity that we're exposed to through that system actually makes the world larger.
The redress movement. That was something that I hadn't read about or touched on. I knew it happened.
Having the opportunity to talk with the older Japanese Americans whose nisei, or the docents whose families were sent to the camps.
Not only did he show us around the actual museum, but he told us all about his entire life, going back to his grandfather.
It was so interesting to hear the details of how it really happens, which is not the same thing that's in the civics book about how a bill becomes a law,
It's just been an absolutely amazing experience. There's so much material out there. There's so many different perspectives from the different states and the different teachers. And the fact that we've been able to spend time talking to other teachers from other areas and getting their viewpoints and their ideas, it's something that I know I can take back to the classroom with a lot more emotion and a lot more real feeling than I ever could have before.
Kind of looking forward to next year already.
Welcome again, all of you. It's so good. I know that I've had a chance to see a lot of you over the past year in your hometowns.
My welcome to you all. I look forward to seeing you over the next few days.
I'm so excited to hear about what you've been doing in your states over this past year.
We're pleased to be here as our Utah team.
We've worked with students from both Phoenix and Parker.
We have an elementary unit that involves students individually and in teams creating a technology project.
This is the book that was produced by the students.
In the spring of this year, Topaz actually became an official historical site.
It's sitting on a page from the Day of Remembrance that we did last February.
Before we leave here today, I'd like to leave you with two words, one big idea, perseverance and resilience.
This professional development has encouraged each state team to investigate pertinent content to their own state, in my case to the state of New Mexico.
it's the first chance I've really ever had in my teaching to collaborate in a meaningful way on what I'm teaching. And instead of just having people talk at me and tell me, you know, all the wonderful things, but never really give me the chance to practice.
And then we went home and we worked and thought and collaborated and met together and tried things. I taught some of the lessons to my 5th graders.
I disagree with going somewhere else because you're so immersed in, because we're learning about Japanese Americans and we're all surrounded by it. In Little Tokyo, we get to eat the food and meet the people. And last time I was in a gift shop and I was just talking to this lady and her mom was in one of the camps.
But how often are there opportunities where you're actually getting lots of teachers that are going to a conference out of state, especially one that is so intimate as something like this?
SOS.
Location.
Collegial dialogue.
Sound of an oscillating sprinkler.
Japanese Peruvians.
It's so nice to be a learner.
It's easy to go to a conference and get lots of great ideas, but not necessarily ever be held accountable to make sure that you actually take them within you, let them permeate you, and actually be reflected in your practice.
You know, last year just getting feet wet, we were just kind of going through the process. We feel like we know each other a little bit more this year, and there's, you know, the other one feels more like a hit and run. The 2 years, you actually have a connection to it, and I think ending next year, like on the 3rd year in Denver, is the ultimate. So,
made me feel part of something big and great, and I felt like a real cog in the big wheel.
You know, when we take this unit back to New Mexico, you know, we've got a test pilot. We've got to educate people. There are still so many educators that do not know about this.